In this video, we're going to look at some ways to have better control over our tracks. First is how to repeat tracks that have the same sizes. If we wanted all of our columns to be 200 pixels wide, just like this, so rather than setting all three, if we had 200 pixels, we already know that setting one value like this will only result in one column being displayed. To help with this, Grid provides us with repeat. So we can add this inside of our columns. So let's add repeat. And then we can add our value inside of the brackets like this. We still keep the size of the track here, but before this we add the number of times we want it to repeat. So if we wanted 4 columns, we do 4 at 200 pixels. Then reload. And there's our 4 columns with equal width. We are still free to add more individual tracks too, either before or after. So if we wanted the first one to be 100 pixels, and then repeat 4 more afterwards, we simply add a new value in before this. So 100 pixels, and then our repeat afterwards. So this gives us our first column at 100 pixels wide, and 4 repeated columns at 200 pixels each. If we wanted a 5th track to take up the remaining space on the right hand side, we could also do this. We could add a fixed size, or we could reuse the auto property, which we've seen before. Refresh, and now we have an extra item at the end. Or alternatively, if we know how many columns we want to use, we can also set these to auto too. So let's remove auto from the end and the first value. And let's say we want 3 columns. We could also use auto inside of the repeat. And there we go. So there's our 3 columns. And now the tracks automatically resize to the content. Next, I want to show you a new unit of measure called the FR unit, which is short for fractional. This unit relates to one part of the available space. It works like earlier when we looked at flex values, where a value of 1 is one part of the available space, and a value of 3 is 3 times bigger. Let's add it to our columns and see what happens. So in our grid template columns, instead of auto, we can add 1 FR and refresh. Now the width of our columns don't depend on the content, they all take up the same available space. And of course, adding a new column in at 2 FR will take up twice the available space. So we'll add a 4th column, refresh. This is now twice the size of these 3. As you would expect, repeat can also be applied to rows too. So just below we can also add repeat. Again inside the brackets we add how many rows we want, and then the size. And then remove our last column from the top. Now for reload, we get 3 equal size rows too. Again, our rows can also be mixed with other size tracks too, meaning this is really flexible to use.